RingGangRadio.com. Take over. Last mission. Final boss mode. What it do?
But yeah, man, let's get to this main event. You know, I know we got some fire for that shit. I know all y'all niggas is, you know, I got a yawn text from somebody.
Yeah, from somebody. Yeah, you know, Terence Crawford versus Kell Brook.
Okay.
Yeah, no. And like I said, unfortunately, now, obviously, if you know the story of Kell Brook, just get a quick, little history. Kell Brook was a welterweight champion who went and fought one of the more dangerous punchers in the sport, Triple G. Although held his own, Triple G, in rage, broke this dude's orbital to the point where he probably he could have lost an eye. So after doing that, after getting surgery, he actually drained down from 160 to 140 to defend his welterweight belt against Errol Spence. And although he put up a fight,
who was the Triple G of the welterweight division?
Yeah, you better not tell us a Spence stand that. They'll probably go crazy, But yeah, after the fight, Spence broke his other orbital and knocked him out and took his belt. So Kell, he had to come up with fights. He looked good in two of them. So when this fight was announced, it wasn't a popular fight. Not a popular fight at all. I know, someone who's not a Crawford fan kind of shitted on it, and me, I just didn't like it, period, because it was just like, damn it, Crawford, why? But it's funny too. It's funny how that fight actually people changed their minds about the fight, especially since because there was a weekend card last weekend. So it's like, oh, it could be a good fight after all.
Yeah, low key, everybody was looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, of course you were. So
but remember, we looking forward toward the card as a whole because we didn't know Franco Maloney would end up being the way it was.
Right.
The best part of Brook versus Crawford to me was the pre-fight where Kell was like, you could see it in my eyes, and Buzz like, I can't see it in your eyes. Both your eyes are broke.
Yo, that shit was just like, it sounded like something that would be in a general chat among us. It was like, wow, okay, you just got to target the first thing you see.
Yeah, like he went.
That was a below the belt.
Yeah, I was like, that's messed up. Like, what if Brook actually gave you a broken orbital just off GP? You know what I'm saying?
Let me text somebody behind the scenes and say, yo, why did this nigga say such and such to me?
Yeah,
this nigga got fucked up eyes.
Yeah, I thought it would be like the whole when Margarito and Brandon Rios made fun of Freddie Roach, and then Pacquiao, of course, damages Margarito and beats the living shit out of Rios. So it could be something like that.
The lead up, that whole fight was fuckery though.
Which one?
The one you talking about?
Oh, yeah, well, Pacquiao Rios or Pacquiao Margarito?
Both actually.
Yeah, because
Roach get kicked in one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, he got kicked in the chest by what's his face? I can't remember the name of the guy.
I think Ariza
Alex Ariza.
Yeah.
It's hilarious because that kick was actually perfect for in form from Muay Thai or kickboxing. It was actually a really good form.
Yeah, and of course it got messed up as Margarito got ruined and Rios took the beating of his life. So it's like, so usually karma will hit somebody.
To be fair, stylistically, both those guys are stand in front of you kind of fighters, which Pacquiao eats as a Scooby snack without issue. He eats those kind of fighters in his sleep.
That's also true.
And it's funny, you had people thinking Rios could have hurt Pacquiao, could have did something.
Say what?
Oh, yeah.
Dude. Yeah, because he was like, well, he just got knocked out by Marquez, so he might never be the same again.
Yeah,
if he runs to Marquez again, but not any other person.
It was.
Remember, Rios wasn't done yet.
Yeah, he was done after that.
Yeah, Pacquiao kind of done though. Like that was a 12 zip. Ain't that one of y'all favorites?
but unfortunately, karma did not hit Crawford that night. But it looked like it might have because the fight itself was kind of mid, but Brook was outboxing Crawford.
Brook won the first 3 rounds to me, bro.
He did. Brook definitely won those rounds. Like
you can say the third round was a little closer, but that was.
You heard his corner. When this nigga got knocked out, they was like, "Yo, niggas, what happened?"
We haven't even gotten to there yet, bro. Let's wait for that. We haven't even gotten to there yet.
Roll just gave away the ending.
I'm not
He
gonna
gave
lie.
away the ending during the introduction names.
Hold on, one at a time, guys. Hold on. Roll, finish what you're saying, Roll.
He looked like he had Crawford kind of shook.
Hey, Mike.
okay,
You hear me?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I said he looked like he had Crawford kind of shook because he had Crawford like not throwing punches, his stance and trying to figure this nigga out. Like this nigga is top of the line nigga. You feel me? and I was like, damn, would this been a day to bet against this nigga?
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
people were actually thinking like that Crawford would get upset because Brook, how he made 147 is anyone's guess, but dude looked fucking big. But I was telling LB this. LB's like he's probably drained too, which is also probably another.
He looked drained, like his face was all gone and his eyes, like he didn't look healthy to me. He looked ripped and everything, but it ain't a beauty contest. No one's gonna give you the Ken Norton award or some shit. Like, bruh, you gotta fucking fight, nigga.
No, he looked rehydrated to me. Come the night of the fight.
Yeah, I mean,
Being drained and being rehydrated are 2 different things. You can rehydrate, but doesn't mean your internal body is actually recovered.
Yeah, because look at Chad Dawson. Chad Dawson made the weight for Ward. And the difference with Chad Dawson and Brook is Ward was good enough where he ain't let Dawson even like really win rounds. He just kind of took over from the beginning. Dawson was maybe competitive for like 1 round and a half, and that was it. With Brook and Crawford, Brook actually was drained and won the first 3 rounds.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. The only thing I'm just going to say in terms of drained is just the way that Brook was jumping back and forth from 160 and back down to 147. Because not accounting what he walks around at, I'm assuming he walks around at heavier, obviously, than maybe he
had to be at like 180.
Exactly. It's easier to go from 180 to 160 versus 180 to 147. That's a rough thing to do, especially if you're bouncing back and forth between the two. That is not something your body's meant to deal with.
I remember his last fights were at 154.
Exactly. And then he was just like, hey, you want to go a level lower?
See, if Crawford would have made this fight at 154, we could have said Brook had more of a chance.
This is where Brook would make all that, like his talk about like, oh, I'm bigger, things like that. Yes, it would make more sense.
Yeah, of course, because we know if Brook would have, sat down on and threw some heat at 154, he has a puncher's chance. He got a legit chance. Where at 147, he's not gonna. His punch resistance is gonna be even worse. Cause think about this, like y'all, everybody in here could box before.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Didn't Crawford have the whole vibe like he was boxing like he knew all he had to do was just land one good punch?
Yes.
Yeah, because I remember I was texting you. I was like, it's like Kell Brook only has about 4 rounds, give or take, to do something substantial before he gets figured out. And Crawford figured him out pretty quickly before that. Because before
with one punch, it wasn't even. I don't even think he figured him out. He just finally knew he could land the shot he wanted to land. Like this nigga got out. This nigga got He got wildered a little bit. Like
it's more specifically because like you'll see it with some of the previous fights with Crawford, especially when it's against another Orthodox. When he switches southpaw, he's banking on one specific thing. Especially because like he tends to hang back. People want to come forward with a 1 or a 1-2. So if you're a southpaw and you're coming for, and someone's coming forward with 1-2, the easiest counter is a counter hook over the top of the jab. So,
which is what he does. He always puts that step back. Like,
but there's another thing also that's leading up to it as well. Like as he's aiming for that kind of 1-2, he's also taking that step back because he knows if the person feels they got to step deeper, they're going to. But it means if you don't keep your feet with you, you're going to lead with your face. So that first time where like the first big wobble happened, you can see that Brook wasn't trying to land the one. He was trying to sneak that right hand, which it did happen, but his face walked into the counter hook as he did it.
mm-hmm.
It's like Crawford trying to pull you and make you reach.
Yes. That's why he seems to appear slow at the beginning. He's trying to see like, what are you going to bite? What are you going to do if I pretend I'm being meek or scared?
But you could do that without getting outboxed though.
Yeah, and
it's a Crawford thing. I'm not too sure what's up with him for doing
like,
that.
honestly, I want to say it's a flaw. Like,
to me too, I agree with it too, because you can still do it coming forward and pushing.
because we're a mean machine, won like the first 3 rounds last year.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And dropped him, and that's a guy who's mid.
Imagine if he gets a stronger fighter, right? Who just comes out and like knows, okay, first 3 rounds, let me just go kill this man, because he's not gonna know what I'm bringing at him. He could easily lose his whole fucking legacy just like that.
Exactly, and honestly, that's a little part of the point I was getting at. Like, just to show you the difference between a guy like Brook and a guy like Mean Machine, who's not on Brook's level, but since he was in his prime and he wasn't as worn and abused as Brook was going into the fight, he was able to do just that.
Yeah,
and even dropped him. So imagine a nigga who's a top, now that's a Mean Machine. You're talking about a guy who's like what, top 15, top 20 at welterweight. Imagine a nigga in the top fucking 7, top 5. Let that be a Jamal James, a Danny Garcia, or anybody, a Sean Porter, or it could end differently, and that's why we want to see him.
The only thing I'll say that's a bit iffy, because I agree with Sean Porter. Sean Porter, there's only one thing he's guaranteeingly going to do: bring his whole self into the fight, no matter what. Danny still starts slow, so that's going to be a really awkward start for both of them.
But then you don't want to run into the rare Danny Garcia that, from the Granados fight, that jumps on your ass with the double jabs and right hands.
How often does that Danny show up?
I don't know. We'll ask Spence when it's over.
I was gonna say that Danny. You want to see that Danny, but he rarely shows up. I don't know what it takes.
Danny from
I think you need 7, you need 14 Dragon Balls to make him show up. I don't know how many multiples of 7 you need to make that Danny show up, but he does eventually show up, and that's the Danny everybody loves.
He's gonna show up in the Spence fight. I'm telling you, he gonna show up in the Spence fight.
He's got no option. He's got no other option.
He said he better show up.
There's no other option. You don't wait on Spence. Spence is going to take a lead and force it on you every single time.
Unless he know you're the other Garcia, he'll make you come to him and he'll back foot box you until you just give up.
But anyway,
which is the third round. Shout out to Pat. That's Pat's favorite fight, folks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like an elephant, Pat never forgets.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Overall, like, boxing had another trash weekend. Yeah. Like it was, going in there, it's like it looked better though than it was. It looked better advertised. Like it's like a new restaurant, and you're like, it looks dope, but you're not noticing that there's people coming outside the restaurant, and they're like looking like. But the posters and the shit look good on the outside. You go there and it's like you get the Jason Franco, you get the Franco Maloney, and then you get Brook Crawford, and now you're like, damn, we should have went to somewhere else, my nigga. Like,
it was overpromised and underdelivered.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, damn, who box next week, nigga? Because
I'm actually not sure. I usually bank on you. I think Pat might be busy. But there is one thing I do want to mention real quick, though. Because one of the main things, everybody who I talked to who kept thinking, like, yo, Kell Brook could Brook could bring something. I said those eyes are still a legit problem. If he gets like that, it's going to spell the end. And when he walked in, when he tried to do a fake 1-2 to land the right hand, he did land the right hand, but his feet were behind, so he led with his face, which Kell Brook, Crawford was not trying to, wasn't expecting it to happen, but because his face came in first, it landed into his right hand.
Yeah,
And of course, it helps though that Crawford has the reach advantage, has like a 5-inch reach advantage. So
and even then, when you see the exchange, like the reach advantage didn't even show. Kell Brook did half the work for him.
That's true.
Yeah,
when you lead with your face, you immediately eliminate the reach issue.
It was an Amir Khan type of knockout, like one of those like the Danny Garcia one. He jump into the punch, like his feet are behind him and his face is forward, like.
And then after the first knockdown, before when the sequence that led into the stoppage, I would say it was a good way, especially because of how the camera was showing how good Crawford is at punch selection. He will begin a punch, and if he sees it somewhere, he will stop, look at you, and be like, okay, where are you going? I'm going to throw in this punch here. I'm going to throw this punch here. That's what makes him really scary. If he knows you're hurt, he knows you can't think straight.
Yeah, so and that's thing I was telling LB last night, Crawford is mean. Like, he's a mean nigga. Like, when he gets people hurt, like, he finishes them. Like, there's not a lot of finishers in the fight in the sport today. Crawford is a pure finisher. Like, you can't be hurt against Crawford. You can't be wobbling and shit like that. You can't be doing all that, or all that, skating on the ice type of shit in the ring. Like, when you do that against Crawford, it's a wrap.
Yeah, he goes for the kill. But once again, that's why we want to see him fight better ops, man. Like I could have easily even been content with a Ugas level fight.
I want him to fight Ugas.
I take a Jamal James.
Yes.
Somebody at that caliber, somebody who's in their prime, young, but got talent, got some type of promise, somebody better than a fucking mean machine, No, because somebody will come and say, well, I thought that was Mean Machine. I'm like, no, like no one is, no one's expecting shit like that from out of him the way we are. People think you guys could actually get a title. People think Jamal James could, fight for a title.
Right.
And then both could box and punch. They're legit threats.
There's one other thing I do want to add, which also spelled the end kind of slowly for Brook, and it's basically tying to what happened with Spence and happened with Triple G. Kell Brook's jab, even though it's really good, he's not the best at dealing with somebody who's good at killing it. If somebody's good at killing his jab, it spells the end for him. Because it happened with Triple G. It happened with Spence. Because yes, they might take a little while to get the hang of you, because here's the biggest thing about Brook. He is really good at starting the fight and leading the fight. If you cannot take it away from him early on, or at least find a way along the way, he's going to outbox you to death.
Just like happened in the Porter fight.
Exactly. And the thing was, Porter had an idea with his, Porter, I'm just going to throw, the entire building in front of you. Kell Brook decided to stand there and hold with you. Whereas Triple G, as well as Spence, and as well as Crawford, they were like, okay, I don't want to do that with you because I know you're probably going to hang with me because you are generally a big guy, so I don't want to deal with it. Mm-hmm. So why would I not instead find a way to take away your jab, which means it spells the end for you? And I can't remember the name of the boxer, LB, but there was one you told me about way back. He lives and dies by his jab, but I can't remember his name.
Oh, wow.
He's either a welter or a lower weight, but he had a rematch with this. He fought twice with one guy, and when the other guy figured out how to deal with his jab the second fight, it was downhill. I can't remember the name though.
It must have been a really random ass fight, because I was just trying to think, because if we had more clues, I'd be able to okay, help.
And I know I had to say it because I'm the only one who come up with them random ass.
Because when you think about it, if somebody lives and dies by their jab, even though you don't think about their jab, because I'm sure Kell Brook doesn't think about his jab, he wants to land that right hand on you, but then you got to set it up somehow, which is your jab. So if somebody knows how to take away your opening salvo, how do you land your big shots?
Exactly. Yeah, I know. So yeah, I mean, Kell Brook, I mean, he didn't adjust in time, but like even then, I didn't see Crawford putting him away. Like, I mean, that jab hook came out of nowhere. Like, I mean, everyone's like, you can see the reactions on Twitter. It's like, whoa, what the fuck happened? You know, 1 minute is just like, you know, 1 minute, you know, Kel's controlling some shit. And next minute, you know, you see Tony Weeks over there. It's like, hey, fight's over.
You literally blink and it happened.
I'm going to slightly disagree, but I do agree with that blink moment. It's the common thing you will always see with Southpaw Orthodox, the lead hand control fight. When the lead hand control fight happens, somebody is going to want to explode. And Crawford doesn't bite. He wants to see if you explode. So if you know his hand is more extended than you, and him as a lefty versus you as a righty, he's ready to hit you. That's what happened with Crawford. That's what happened with Brook, because his hand got shorter. And then he wanted to come in, let me do a fake 1-2, which it did work. It was just by the time he walked in, because he led face first, that hook jab weird kind of thing just landed clear, not even on the face, on the eye.
Yeah,
and
but even then, you don't think it'll be a punch that would have Brook all like discombobulated and everything like that? Like, dude, it's just like, dude was out of.
Man, in my opinion, when your eyes are fucked up like that and you need that kind of surgery, it doesn't take much for it. Look at the Argentinian Feywild, whatever his name is. Matisse.
I'm gonna ignore that you call that dude Argentina.
I only say it because Chalk said it. I only say it because Chalk said it. Ever since Chalk gave him that name, I will never look him any other way except Feywild.
but yeah, like his punch resistance went down.
Like if Brook fought Crawford before Spence, then he would have handled it better.
Yeah, of course, but even at 154, I think he would have handled it better. I don't think Crawford would have fought like he just needed one punch to win the fight. Like he literally.
No. Crawford knew his advantage. He knew.
Yeah,
he was aware.
That's what made the fight so trash. Like honestly, like it's like we don't talk too much. Like it's 54 minutes on this trash ass card, yo. Like.
Right as he says we should fight at 154 at the 54-minute mark. Yeah, go ahead, LB.
Yeah, the fight should have been at 154. At least we could have said, you know, Brook has a chance, and if anything, if Bud wins, we could have seen if he could have got a title shot with the winner of the WBO fight up in February. You know, other than that, because it don't look like he's gonna fight any PBC welters anytime soon. So at least he could have got in the mix at 154. Other than that, like,
yeah. Well, I mean, you had Aram capping like a motherfucker afterwards. Like, we wanted Pacquiao in some Middle Eastern country, but they wouldn't get it. Like, nah, stop it.
Yeah, actually, I got a quick question about that. I don't know if it was about Crawford or somebody else, but wasn't there any talk about like either after this fight or a fight afterwards, Crawford's a free agent?
Well, Crawford's contract doesn't expire until October 2021. So unless he stays on, he's not gonna stay on the shelf for that long. So I mean, most likely, he'll probably maybe have one more fight. I mean, he could have one more fight or two.
He's gonna be like 35 soon.
That's the thing too. It's like, and another thing too. I mean, obviously, Aram does not like his fighters leaving clean. Like, you know, like I mean, if you have a belt on you, you have to make sure you knock your opponents out. So that's a good job.
You better leave, fucked up boy.
That can happen with Crawford because Crawford is fighting a level of competition where he could knock people out. When you're fighting Brook at 147 in 2020, that's like Amir Khan in 2019 at 147. Oh wait, hold on, Bud did that too. Yeah.
I'm thinking about the Amir Khan fight where he fought a guy who was like less than him, but the guy did a low blow in like the final round. I can't remember the guy's name though.
I mean, Amir Khan's fights. I mean, that's another cast, like, you know, for that dude. Like, I mean,
yeah, I don't even want to see Brook and Amir Khan fight anymore. Like
yeah, no, that's seeing this. Who on earth is even talking about them rematching? That shit
They
weird.
never fought.
They never fought. Like this was supposed to be Withered Hatton for this generation, but
Yeah, no.
people always kind of held out for it that it could happen anyway. But
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
right.
Colin was going for Brook because if Brook won, obviously the belt would have been like, and that probably would have been Khan's last chance. He would have made the fight because it would have been his last chance to actually become a welterweight champ. You
Yeah,
know?
my bad. I mixed up names. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
but 147. That's the thing. It's like Brook didn't really stand a chance. The whole battle was him getting down to 147. The fact that he won the first 3 rounds says more about Brook than Crawford. Crawford, you're not supposed to be letting any weight drain nigga win rounds off of you.
No, you should.
Not no 3 in a row, like. But this is the thing, when you know all you got to do is land one good shot and you win the fight. This is how fights play out when that happens.
Yeah, but at least he's a bit.
Mayweather had to try harder against McGregor, and that's a nigga with no boxing fights. So
Yeah,
think about that. Think about that. Mayweather had to try harder against McGregor than Crawford had to with Brook, and McGregor had no boxing fights.
And that was just because Floyd was pissed because he was about to lose his bet. That was literally it.
But the thing is, McGregor in a boxing match is more dangerous than fucking Brook in a boxing match in 2020 at 147.
No, let's not be. Oh my God, let's not go.
I have to say it. I have to say it, man. I have to.
He was carried. Like, come on, let's not bring him right.
No, but look. The difference is, when you carry somebody, you don't necessarily have to lose the round. Floyd wasn't losing rounds to McGregor. When you carry somebody, you're basically remember, when you're carrying somebody, you're basically winning, but you're prolonging the inevitable. You don't have them fucking win the fucking rounds back to back. Then you're like, okay, I just land my one punch and knock them out.
Makes a little bit of sense. More sense.
Like Brook legit was making Crawford look like, damn, I don't know, like what I'm supposed to do here. This nigga switching up, like, hold on,
okay,
this shit ain't working.
I'm gonna have to hop in there real quick though. I gotta
but Floyd and McGregor, Floyd was just like, it was more of a sparring session where you're like, okay, let me let this nigga get off his shots, and I'll just kind of wear him down, tag him here.
No, the reason
controlling him. It's a whole way different type of 2 fights.
Yeah, but the only reason I'm hopping in it is in terms of skill level. You have to consider the skill level. Brook has a skill level to at least cause some level of trouble. Because of McGregor's experience, because like a good chunk of it, the tools he's used to thinking about is gone. He can only operate a certain way, which means, it's easier for somebody who knows the sport better to carry you.
Of course, but this is the thing, McGregor is still explosive. He's still a human being. He's still quick. Like it's Brook. It's like all the intangibles that McGregor had, Brook doesn't have at 147. So he's doing this off of pure boxing skills. But everybody's always saying how good a boxer Crawford is, and he's pound for pound number 1. So a nigga with nothing but boxing skills was able to fucking box you for 3 rounds because he had nothing else to offer.
That's more of the fault of the people who just had to like throw him. That's more of a fault of the people who just had to throw him up to the top like that. That's not necessarily your fault.
Either way you explain it, Crawford doesn't look good.
He had a really bad start. That's true.
Yeah, the bad start
against a really bad opponent.
I would not.
I mean, y'all can't spin it. I mean, he won officially, but we're not going to spin it to anything bigger than that.
But he's not that bad. Brook is not ideal, but he's not that bad either.
At 147, he is. Just like it was a different Hatton at 147 and at 140.
He fought
at 147, guys like Collazo could beat him.
I did not know that.
At 140, guys like Collazo weren't beating Hatton. I mean, am I lying? Like,
Well, I mean, in this case though, Brook did. I mean, he legitimately did win a 147 belt, and he didn't get ruined at 147. He got ruined when he went.
He went up, and then just bad career moves. But at the end of the day, Brook's bad career modes plus Bud's bad matchmaking doesn't make this bigger than what it is.
Right.
It's a nigga lost, a nigga that we thought was gonna lose lost.
Yeah.
He did a little better than I thought he would do. But at the end of the day, that still looked bad because he's not even supposed to do that good. This is like Jacobs Chavez Jr.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like Brook is not pathetic. I mean, this thing like Brook can win a round.
Brook is no slouch, but come on, at 147, 2020,
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much we hope now. I mean, Brook does decide, to return because, like I said, his body can't take it anymore. Like 147 is a wrap. Like 154 is a very dangerous division, and Brook is one of the few that he can fight anywhere because he's politically, neutral. So
remember, Brook turned down title shots from 154 cats.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, dudes was saying, "I'll fight Brook." Brook could have had way bigger fights at 154 with one of the champions, but he turned it down. That should just let you know where he thought he was at. Mm-hmm. But he still felt he was more comfortable at 154. Mm-hmm. That's why the Bud fight at that weight would have been way better.
Yeah, so he
would have gave himself a real, true, honest effort. We would have saw the intangibles like the speed and the power kind of reinforce the boxing skills. Whereas at 147, we just saw the boxing skills.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but that was for him. Just like, there's talent line, I'm gonna challenge it. That's why he went down that way. You are not going to let a guy who formerly held a title of the weight not try and do it again. They're always gonna try and do it again.
Yeah, I just want to see Crawford fight better opponents, man. That's all.
I think that's what everyone is. Everyone knows that Crawford is a beast. Like, look, he passes the eye test on a lot of different levels. But I think they just want, for his legacy, for it to be remembered by. I mean, they just want to make sure that they just want the fights to happen. And then obviously now we gotta hope that in a couple of weeks, or not a couple, next month, that Spence wasn't too damaged from his little accident, and doesn't get upset by Danny Garcia, which is a possibility, unfortunately. So
if Spence lose, then Bud need to fight Danny Garcia. Like, it is what it is. Like, any of these niggas over there on PBC, anybody from the top 7 names over there, is an improvement for Crawford. Like, the reason why Crawford now is saying shit like he don't think the Spence fight could happen and he don't think it's gonna happen and this, that, is because right now he feels that he don't need a Spence fight. Like, he's already Hall of Fame. He's already to the level where he's done enough. Whether you agree with him or not is on you, but like, anybody over there PBC welterweight in the top 7 from Jamal James, you guys on up, Crawford could fight and there'd be an improvement.
Yeah.
So it ain't gotta be I just wait for Spence. Just like, why these young niggas in their prime calling out 42-year-old Pacquiao?
Money,
and he's
fighting. He has a belt because he has a belt.
Yeah, he's a money and he's a legit champion.
And clout, especially.
He's holding up the division. That's what I'm saying.
He's not stopping. Hold on, wait. Is Pacquiao stopping Crawford from fighting anybody else?
No, but niggas gonna go for him because he's the obvious number one choice.
You can't say that. If anybody over there Crawford could fight is better than who he's fought in his entire career.
Yeah, but they don't think like that. These niggas think, well, if I can't get the number one guy, I'll sit out and wait until I can get the number one guy. Now,
well, of course they're gonna think like that if niggas still think that they pound for pound number one.
Well, there you go. That's what I'm saying.
And that's why I don't think like these niggas is pound for pound number one, because they don't move like that. That's why Crawford ain't my pound for pound number one.
Who's your pound for pound number one right now?
In a way.
I have to 100% agree with that. He does not care who's in front of him. He's ready to beat the shit out of him.
he bodies anybody who get in front of him, but usually it's top level niggas that get in front of him.
Right.
To be fair, I didn't know who Maloney was before the fight happened.
Which one?
The one in fought anyway.
Oh yeah, no, I did because like I said, he was in the
Yeah, he's had some fights.
he was in the World
But
Boxing.
that's the thing. This is another thing. He's actually a top contender in his division, though. Like that's what people got to remember. Like,
Just nobody knows that because nobody follows those divisions, unfortunately.
exactly. Whereas like Brook ain't top anything in two divisions. Three. I mean,
Name,
people
but that's pretty much about it. He's a name, but he's
just a name, but he's not. So beating a
He's
guy
a gatekeeper.
beating a guy who's like ranked number 6 in your division, who's in his prime, who's quick and has power, speed, whatever, can box, accounts to more of a threat than you beating a guy who has a name that used to be a threat.
In my head, that's the person I want to take, and I'm like, who is the one who people feel is dangerous? I'm gonna take them on and then kill the legend right away. That's in my head. I want to find out if I hear there's something dangerous about you. My first thought is like, can I kill him?
Well, yeah,
Nothing against the guy themselves. Nothing against the guy themselves. I just want to find out like, can I kill your hype?
Nah, Kell Brook is just that. Kell Brook is like that chick that has a name that everybody knows, but she's been in, she's been for the streets for the longest, so she like, no one like don't mean nothing no more. You want to go for the,
Yeah, it's like you could smash, but it's nothing that you really brag about. Like, it's like, I knocked her down, but I mean, I'm really trying to holler at her cousin. Her cousin. She
My
don't.
biggest thing is I'm just like, yo, you just keep going forward. And my thing about it is like, you keep going forward, so people find out, like, they find out the fact that, like, yeah, I was the person like, oh, you found out later. I'm like, yeah, because the guy keeps going forward. You don't care. He just keeps going forward, no matter what. That's how I look at things. I'm like, keep going forward no matter what. Whether the crowd follows you or not, you know where you're going to go.
And that's why Bud is doing what he's doing. That's why he re-signed the top rank. He's getting pound for pound #1 billing. He's amassing a Hall of Fame career in the least most threatening way possible, and making millions of dollars too. So it's like you could be mad at him, you could just be like, well, he's doing him, whatever. But and end of the day, it might be the perfect career to have.
I personally think like the way you just described it, you can fall into any of those categories. You'd be either upset with him, okay with him, or want to do more. He knows what he's planning to do. I hope he knows what he's planning to do. So like, whatever it is, he's going to go that way. I legitimately hope he does eventually fight. I don't care what order. Porter, Spence. Wow, I forgot his name. Thurman and Pacquiao.
I still want to see Thurman.
Thurman and Pacquiao. Those 4. If he can fight those 4, he's good for me. Win or lose, he's good.
Pretty much. Yeah, those four. Like if he fights them and he beats all of them, he's Hall of Fame. He's first ballot. Like there's no question about that. So,
but it's real life. That like half those fights ain't gonna happen. Shit, we don't even think one of those fights gonna happen.
Yo, LB, stop killing shit right now. We're trying to be hopeful right now. I'm like, why you trying to like come be like, yo, I want to be realistic? I'm like, nah, you're just killing shit right now.
Countdown shit, like all hugs and shit with this nigga. Nah,
I told you no order. It wasn't even a countdown. There was no order. I just said I would like to see.
Bruh, like,
yeah, but we got to be realistic. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, Crawford,
fuck you, nigga. I want to just be hopeful.
Nah,
Crawford is having the most perfect career play out. Dude is getting a Hall of Fame career, and pound for pound #1 billing, and getting big days, and never fought a real threat. Never was in a 50-50 fight or somebody where he was the underdog. That's the perfect career.
Actually, no, that's a good question because I know, like, I'm just saying because I've just seen it floating around on social media for a while because they're putting Canelo versus Crawford. Who would you put first and second? I guess.
That's when like non-boxing ass niggas start just going ham in Photoshop or memes and shit. Like,
Yeah, we're not doing
this
Photoshop.
Roman versus Canelo, like all
We're
types
not
of
doing
stupid
Photoshop.
matchups.
We're not doing memes. We're not talking about like let's sit back, adjust our pyramids and all that other shit. We're just trying to find out, be like, hey, if you were forced to pick between the two, who would you say had a better achievement between the two?
Canelo.
Yeah, I gotta say Canelo.
And could you just explain why? Because I know you guys have a really good
See, I even got the nigga that always shits on Canelo to pick Canelo.
I mean,
I know. But I'm just saying, let's put it on record.
You know how good Canelo is. You know his level. Whereas Crawford is a question mark. You don't know how. Like to me, like Canelo is like a strong B+ type of fighter.
Okay.
When it comes down to it, he's a guy who's going to be on the level. He's usually on the same level of the guys that he fights that are good.
Mm-hmm.
Like he isn't a dominant fighter. He's no Pacquiao, no Floyd, no Roy Jones. I don't expect that from him. I know where his level is at.
He's just Canelo.
Yeah, a guy who's always going to go life and death with anybody that's good. No, but it's true.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Crawford is presented as a higher boxing pedigree, and he's so dominant, but we don't know if he would fall into the Canelo category because he hasn't fought the type of dudes, Canelo fought. Like Bradley. I'm sorry, Bud hasn't fought someone as good as fucking Trout.
No, he hasn't.
To be honest, like he hasn't fought somebody as good as Trout. He hasn't fought no one as good as no Golovkin. No fucking. He was no underdog against no Floyd level opponent.
Is there any Golovkin right now in 147?
Yeah, he's called Spence.
That's the one that everybody makes noise for.
He might like if Golovkin's Arnold, like if he's like the T1000 or T800, then Spence is like the liquid nigga, like the T2000 or some shit.
The liquid nigga who doesn't move his head.
That nigga surviving accidents and shit. Like, come on.
That is true.
So that's all I'm saying. Like, you can't, just like how we all evaluated Wilder's power. We knew once he started fighting people who
could take it away.
Who could take it away or are used to bigger punchers fighting him, his power ain't gonna look as good. Niggas say Ernie Shaver's power is legit because he's knocked down motherfuckers who are Hall of Famers who got chins.
Yeah.
We're never gonna mature another Shavers again. I don't know what these clowns want to say, like, yo, this guy's the next XYZ. I'm like, they're not Shavers. Okay? The end. If you want to talk about Shavers, go talk to the guy. He's still alive.
That's the thing. Look, competition is always going to tell us where we at, and with Crawford, it's still a question mark. That's all I can really say, man. We'll never know how truly good he is. And like Rome said earlier, if somebody's just been watching this nigga fight and know that, look, I got a 3-round window to make something big happen, and they focus on doing their best 3-round window approach, and they go after this nigga. If they hurt Crawford badly and get him out of there, they could basically ruin this man's whole legacy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is coming from this is coming from a guy who's a advanced casual boxing fan.
I'm gonna go out of my way and say, like, the majority of everybody in here are not advanced casuals. We are beyond that.
But you would agree with Rome, though. You would agree with that statement, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. But the thing with Rome is, like,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, you got seasoned boxing people that's agreeing with something a casual said. So that just showed you casuals run boxing.
Go ahead, bro.
I feel like I'm actually more attached than a casual nigga. A casual nigga will probably just watch the big fights. I watch all types of fights. If a card's looking good, I'll watch it, nigga.
Not in the sense like because I know cause ring gang ain't really no casuals and no ring gang, but when you compare it to like
religiously since y'all was like babies, nigga. I'm just getting into it. You feel me?
Yeah.
No, here's a fun fact. Here's a fun fact.
New fan
LB,
in a way, yeah.
here's a fun fact. LB found out I was like a late into learning into the boxing game. I just came off that way that I looked at it. I was like, no, I was late. I just appreciated the past. That's it.
So
I
that's
just
the thing.
appreciate that.
You got new fans that are looking at the situation side eye, like, hold on, you know, this nigga, he ain't really as good as he's supposed to be. Like matter of fact, one time me and Rome clocking out of work, and this nigga was like, yo, who's this Terence Crawford nigga? About they had this video on World Star, and I'm like, yeah, he's fucking good, but he ain't fight nobody. And this had to be like in 2016, 2017. Well, yeah. Rome, you seen this nigga fight now. Yeah,
I
he's
remember
good.
that. It was like a World Star comp, and they were showing this nigga just knock niggas out like 25 niggas. I'm like, yo, who the fuck is this nigga? And he was like, he ain't fought nobody.
No, fast forward, damn, 3, 4, 5 years later, and what happened? Yeah, he still ain't fucking fight nobody.
I mean,
But
we
what's
all
his
know
biggest fight? Kell Brook is his biggest fight?
I mean, we all know, like, I know the next couple of
People
years,
tried to say that.
like, I know the next couple of years, 3 years, Mac, I mean, will determine Crawford's legacy in terms of what, I mean, he may go to the Hall of Fame, but in terms of how he's remembered, you know, that's gonna be.
He's Hall of Fame now, bro. I'm telling you, he's looking at. He thinks
Give me a
now.
fucking break. Hall of Fame.
Bruh, he's Hall of Fame now.
But
If you
it
ask this
depends
nigga,
how-
trust me, you ask this nigga if he believe he Hall of Fame, he'll say yes.
All right, so
3
what if he
weight
wins
division
14
champion.
more fights? What if he wins 14 more fights and cracks Floyd's 50 and 0?
But if they on the
Then
same,
what?
if they on the same level, he's still gonna be Hall of Fame, but he still ain't gonna be shit as far as like I'm looking at him as a great fighter. He's Hall of very, very good to me.
You know, so,
Great,
I mean,
you gotta fight somebody very good or great to become great.
right?
I don't put Crawford over Ricky Hatton.
No. No.
He ain't got no Kasazu win.
Yeah, well, I don't think much of Hatton, anyways. I mean, that's the, you know,
You think Crawford beats Kasazu?
it would be a good fight. It would be competitive. I mean,
Do you think he beat the
Zoo
hold on,
did-
let alone stop him?
Zoo did lose to Vince.
It would be a very rough decision.
I mean, yeah, he lost to Vince Phillips, but shit, Vince Phillips might could beat Crawford ass too, nigga. What the fuck?
Nigga, Vince Phillips is, you know, no. I mean, Crawford is incredible with Zoo. I'm not gonna get into it.
It's too wild.
Niggas like, yo, this nigga just going on a rampage now. Yo,
You know,
calm down.
I don't care. I'm just like, yo, I'm here for it.
You know, like, man, Frankie Randall could beat Crawford.
But yeah, just to move on, you know, bottom line is like Crawford. I mean, we hate our skills, but we need a competition. We need a competition now in 2021. We need the competition because, like I said, I mean, yes, I mean, we all know this, but we want to see him do it against a top welterweight in the sport. You know, so then that's pretty much basically about it. And Brook just needs to retire. Brook should stop fucking around. Like, you know, like I said, don't gamble with your eyesight or whatever. Like, it's over. Like,
Your organs, nigga, your health, like fuck the eyesight, well, just your organs, your health, bro. Like, you getting depleted and weight drained and have somebody beat on you. Well, oh, I forgot you won the first 3 rounds. Never mind. Just the last couple punches. That's all. They look bad. Like, damn.
Yeah, the last couple punches that hit both eyes, not
That
one.
he didn't see. That he didn't see.
Yeah,
He didn't
then he
see.
went to the corner to courtroom. He's just like, yo, what the fuck hit me?
Yeah. So I mean, so he does have some vision loss in there. Like they probably did. Like, you know, his peripheral's probably not where it used to be. So it's like, you know, Kell, like, retire while you still can actually see properly. You don't want a margarita. You don't want a dead eye situation. In this case, 2 dead eyes. You know, so it's like, you know, I mean, you did
not pull a margarita, please.
Yeah, no, because
Or Israel Vasquez, you know.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Or Lamont Brewster, like the list goes on, man. Like,
yeah, boxing with these eye injuries, man, it's not pleasant, and you don't like to look at them now and just you pity them. You don't want to pity them, but You know, it's the same. Like, don't gamble with your
I
eyesight.
got like what $2 million for the fight. Like I hope it's worth it. Like you know, take the money and leave town, bro. Like
Yeah, like, you know, don't like this game. Like, you got your title, like you became a champion, so and you did what you had to do. So it's like, you know, just be satisfied with that. Like, don't go chasing waterfalls anymore. So.
And you expose a lot of dudes for being shook of certain fighters in certain divisions.
Exactly. So
I always respect you for that, because nobody wanted no Golovkin until you started bouncing combos off of him, and then that's when everybody was like, he doesn't seem so tough.
Exactly. And also, shout out to Pat quoting that TLC track, "Don't chase waterfalls." I'm like, yes, don't do that.
Yeah, so we'll just leave it at that. You know, hopefully Crawford gets a bigger fight next time, so I don't have to get the yawn text.
Yeah.
So we go in like so hard on the podcast where, you know, I'm sending Infinity Stones out to the whole squad. I got like 5 of us in here shitting on this fight, so you know.
Oh man, no. But yeah, no, just to, you know, move on to our second and final topic of the